What's up YouTube, it's your boy Mike here with PeoplesChoiceGaming, and today we're going to take a first look into the new wind-based Warframe Zephyr. Now guys, she just came out, and most likely, like all new Warframes, she's going to probably have hot fixes, and she's probably not finalized yet. So this will be a first look video. However, I am going to break down everything thoroughly so you really have a good opinion of her, and I will briefly show out a mod layout for her at the end of the video. Remember, you do need to build a whole new room in the dojo to make this Warframe, which I will go over in my U12 video. Alright guys, really quickly I want to show you her first power, Tailwind. It shoots you straight up in the air. And if you press it again while you're already high up in the air, you'll slash dash outwards and be able to fly across the screen like Superman. It's kind of like, Ripline getting you around, Zoran coptering getting you around. It's really fun to use, a really good way to travel. And if you're able to hit enemies when you're shooting through the air, you'll do damage to them. You can hit enemies like that by running and jumping and then hitting Tailwind, and then you'll do a quick load Tailwind. And if you are within a few inches above the enemy's heads, you will be able to do damage to them, which is pretty sweet. Alright guys, let's go ahead and test our first and second ability out on some enemies. Remember though, if you are in a building with an immediate ceiling above your head, you will not be able to perform her 1 and 2 ability that well, because basically you'll tailwind up and you'll hit the ceiling, and even if you hit dive bomb instantly, what will happen is you'll just shoot down to the ground with your feet instead of your head, so it doesn't really work out. You need a lot of clearance like you see right now. That lets you shoot straight up in the air and have plenty of room to dive bomb down. Now basically, when you tailwind up, that is going to knock the enemy over and also do a few hundred minimal damage. And also when you dive bomb down and either hit the enemy or hit the ground next to the enemy, you're going to create a shockwave, which is a good few meters wide, and that's going to knock the enemy down and also do minimal of a few hundred damage again. Both of these powers are more for the fun than the damage. If they're low enough level, you will be able to kill enemies this way. Now, the mods that work best on these powers are duration mods and power strength mods. The duration mod is going to allow you to tailwind up much further, and when you double tailwind, you'll be able to tailwind out much further, kind of like a slash dash, it looks like, from Excalibur. Also, power strength is going to give you more damage to your tailwind when you tailwind next to an enemy and do damage to him, and also give you more damage to your nosedive or dive bomb when you dive bomb down on an enemy. Also, range will affect this power by making the AoE effect larger when you dive bomb. Alright guys, this is her third ability called Turbulence. It's supposed to deflect all incoming projectiles. You're probably wondering why am I just showing it as the color black, which actually shows up white. I'm showing you this as a tip, because if you make it this color, which it's actually black, then you'll be able to see a lot better, even though it's still a little bit distracting and annoying right now. Now watch what happens when I change it to any color like red, blue, orange, just any color that doesn't appear to be white. It becomes a huge distraction. You got red and orange right in front of your face, and you can barely see. It's really annoying when you're trying to go for headshots. It's a big pain in the ass. This is something that really needs to be fixed. You'll just have to experience it for yourself. So try the color black to make it a lot easier on yourself. Alright guys, let's take a look at Turbulence in action. Now, when I pop it and go up against this one heavy gunner, it seems to be working as it should. It's deflecting all incoming bullets, and they're even going back and hitting him as it should. Now, here's the big problem. When you go up against multiple enemies, sometimes even minimum of 3, any 3 or more, you're going to be taking a bunch of damage, and the power does not work right. Every time I tried multiple enemies, the power did not work right, which I will show you an example of next. And even sometimes with just one enemy, the power didn't work. I wanted to show you right there that with one enemy it did work, but sometimes with just one enemy it doesn't work. But obviously the bigger problem is there's usually going to be more than one enemy, and in that case the power doesn't work. So it definitely needs to be hot fixed still. Let's go take a look at some examples of that. Alright guys, I'm going to show you an example of her turbulence with multiple enemies around. Notice my shields keep going down, and going down. When there's multiple enemies, this power just does not work. Every time I've tried it with multiple enemies, sometimes just even 3 enemies, the bullets end up going through. Now obviously there's bugs, because even if there was a max amount of enemies, a max amount of bullets it could reflect, I've had this power not work with just 1 enemy before. So we'll see what happens. Also, this power does not work for bombarders, rockets, corpus grenades, or napalms. Napalms. They will not reflect those at all. It will get right to your shield and just blow up in your face and mess you up. So that is contradictory, because the power does say it reflects all incoming projectiles, which is definitely not true. So we're going to have to wait to see what happens. Alright guys, let's check out her 4th ability, her ultimate, named Tornado. You're basically going to have about a second of casting time, getting the tornadoes ready, and then you're going to shoot 4 of them out, which they're going to go right towards the enemies. It's going to suck the enemies up in the air like a vortex and then carry them around the room, proving to be a great crowd control and dealing a high amount of damage over time. Now, these tornadoes have an elemental damage type of magnetic by default, which if you watch the proc in the very beginning of this clip, you're able to see that. However, the color of the tornadoes will be whatever color the energy color of your Warframe is, that you made your Warframe. But when you shoot the tornadoes with your weapon, it will change the magnetic damage type to whatever elemental damage type your weapon is. If it's radiation, the tornadoes will be tinted yellow. If it's viral, they'll be yellow. If it's radiation, they'll be green. If it's magnetic, they'll be blue. Now, this ulti I really like, because for one, it does a good amount of damage. Considering most ultis in this game for most Warframes are lackluster, this one finally works nicely. I was able to kill level 35 plus enemies in a matter of seconds with this tornado. And you gotta remember, with just 1 continuity, the duration for your tornadoes are gonna be 25 seconds. So even if you're doing like level 40 some enemies, or 50, like pretty high level, and it took 7-8 seconds to kill them, you got 25 seconds. So this ultimate proves to do some pretty nasty damage over time. And then as far as crowd control goes, it's basically like 4 vortexes that are much bigger and pretty much reach the ceiling. They move around the room, basically kind of tracking the enemies. They don't track them 100% that well, but when you initially shoot the tornadoes out, they will shoot up to like 30 meters away, going towards all different groups of enemies. Just working really, really well. And inside, as you see here, the power really works well, because the enemies are so close together. The tornadoes will move through objects, move through walls. They'll even go through doors and go outside. They do not discriminate. This ultimate is just awesome. Great crowd control and a really nice damage over time. Use power strength to give it more damage and duration mods to make it last longer. Now guys, let's quickly jump into the arsenal to go over her stats, and let's go over a brief guide on modding her, just in case you have already bought her and are having trouble modding this Warframe. Alright guys, I'm going to have to briefly go over her stats and mod layout because the video is already kind of long, but I did want to make a longer video where I went over all her powers very thoroughly, because I did want you guys to get a really good opinion of her, so you really knew what she was all about, to make sure or not, you really wanted to make this new Warframe. And when I do a full breakdown video of her, I will spend more time on modding her and stuff like that. Now her stats at level 30 are great. She has 450 health, 450 shields, which is very high, 80 stamina, which is average, 150 power, which is average, and a low armor of 15, which does not matter, because armor just really doesn't work greatly in this game. And she already has really high health and shields, which is what we care about most. And she has great crowd control and defensive powers once turbulence gets fixed. Now at level 30, with a 2 from the top redirection, a full vigor, and a full physique, you're going to be looking at 630 health and 1170 shields, which is just amazing. That's really high stats, really great defense right there. and she comes with a V and a dash polarity, which I put duration and power strength in. And she comes with the sideways D aura, which you could put physique in to get the most points. You could put energy siphon or rifle amp in there because I like them more. They're better auras, and you will get less points. However, I'm talking about if you form in this Warframe, then I would maybe look into putting, energy siphon or rifle amp in. That's going to be a personal preference. Now, we got all our powers in with no problem. We have 2 points left over, which we can put in redirection. We have redirection for defense, vigor for defense, flow and streamline, for efficiency and energy, so we can use all her powers. And then we got duration on, because that's going to make her tailwind. It's going to make her tailwind much further when you jump up, like shoot up and shoot out. So duration really works well in this Warframe. It's also going to make your tornado and turbulence last longer. Both these powers are awesome. Excluding turbulence, kind of needs fixed. And lastly, power strength is going to make dive bomb and tailwind do more damage. However, it matters most on tornado. And I think in the future, what we're going to look at is putting blind rage on, and then fleeting expertise to counteract the power efficiency loss once we form in this Warframe, because I really like her tornado, and like I said, it kills enemies in seconds at a pretty high level of like 35 plus. So I think if we played around with putting blind rage on, we could get tornado to do some pretty high damage against some high level enemies. So guys, don't take this to heart right here. This is just a brief, quick, general mod layout to help you guys that have already bought her. It's going to work very well. I've spent a very long time testing this Warframe out. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And definitely check out my stream. I will be streaming a lot of U12 to get you guys familiar with it once I get some videos out to you. And I'm going to go ahead and head out of here. My opinion of this Warframe is I'm loving her. She's a lot of fun. Thumbs up. She's a good Warframe. Alright, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.